Hello, students. Today we're here to cover a topic with you that is very important amongst students. It is called Chatting Safely Online. I am Mrs. Lockhart, your media specialist, and I am very concerned about this digital citizenship of all students at Don Estrich High Tech Middle School. So, in digital citizenship, you must learn how to be responsible digital citizens throughout your middle school and high school matriculation. So, today we're going to be talking to sixth graders about chatting safely online. So, I would first like to start with an essential question, and it is how do you chat safely with people you meet online? Now, I know that many of you have been online playing a video game, perhaps, and you have met up with someone online that you may have never met face to face or in person. So, in those instances, how do you chat safely with people you meet online? And that is a question that I want you to think about throughout this presentation. So today, we're going to analyze how well I know people I interact with online. We're going to reflect on what information is safe to share with different types of online friends. And we're also going to learn to recognize red flag feelings and how to respond to them. So let's look at this particular student. We're going to discuss what are some of the benefits and the risk of talking with people online that you don't know face to face. What's one comment in the video that you agree with and why? So as you watch this video called Teen Voices, who you're talking to online, we ask that you think about these particular questions and be prepared to discuss them with your facilitating teacher after this video is over.
There are a lot of people out there who aren't who they say they are, in small ways and big ways.
I think it is totally fine for someone to become friends with someone online, but you have to be very, very careful.
You know, they're thinking over their text and their pictures could be fake.
On social media, you can talk to people, but you can't really get your emotion across.
Talking to strangers online, it's 50-50.
Some of the benefits of online relationships, it's definitely easier to interact and talk to people because you're thinking about what you're saying and you just are more comfortable.
Right, so some of the greatest parts about having a friendship with someone online is that they're easily accessible. You can just text them, be like, hey, what's up? You can have that sort of immediate connection all the time.
If you are in a smaller community, becoming friends with someone online allows you to become friends with someone who has a similar interests as you, and you can have a really good friendship with someone.
I really do enjoy playing video games, connecting with other people, whether they're strangers or if I'm playing with my friends and talking to them and, doing something together. I think that that's really fun that we can all enjoy the same thing.
You don't feel like you actually have to deal with this person. So if they don't like what you're saying, they can leave. If you don't like what they're saying, you can leave.
Sometimes having conversations can just be they can make you sort of anxious. When you're online, you're behind the screen. It'll make it easier for them to say things that they want to say, that they might not say in real life.
There is a very significant difference between a real friendship and an online friendship. That's not to say that your online friendships aren't real. It's just that they're different.
There's something called IBF, so Internet Best Friends, and basically they text and they become best friends, but they haven't met them in real life.
I felt a lot of genuine trust between the people that I talked to online because they were really close friends of my close friends. It's just, I think trust is the main thing.
So I have become friends with people who are friends of friends, or I know through other people. I'll add them on, Instagram or Snapchat, whatever it is I'm using. And maybe I'll just say hi or just start a conversation.
There's things that you can tell people online that you can't tell people in real life. At the same time, you have to know how to be safe, right?
I would say I'm more comfortable talking face to face because like on social media, you can talk to people, but like it's hard to like communicate like a sense of realness and like emotions.
If the person is a total stranger to you, they may have an alternative motive trying to get other information out of you.
They might be pretending to be somebody that they're not. They might be using you for something.
Like, please don't tell people online your full name or where you live.
You don't actually know who they really are, and you need to be sure that they're okay.
I think a lot of people assume that because you have a friend online and they're kind of not always in your day-to-day and you can choose and edit what you say to them, that it's always going to be good. But it's still a relationship. It's still two people, and you're giving them a lot of information about yourself.
Okay, so this video was excellent. I think it covered a lot of bases. It covered the fact that we're comfortable with the friends that we have online. And I actually learned a new word, IBF, my internet best friend. And so the children in that video talked about how, it's easy to play games with people online. And I just have like some notes that I scribbled down. So I hope that you were taking notes as well. But these people are easily accessible. It's easier to say things to people online that you may not be able to say in person. Have you ever had that experience before? That you just feel like there's no barriers, there are no boundaries. So whoever's online, it's easier for you to say things to them. But on the flip side of that, they said that it's not easy to relay or see emotions of people that you're speaking with online because you don't know who they are. If they say they're 13, what if they're 33? So you can't really determine, who a person is online that you've never met, just based on what they say. And so some other notes that I took is that it's easy to pretend online, to pretend to be someone that you're actually not. And you'd never want to give anyone online your full name. You never want to give anyone online your full address where they could come to your house. You don't want to reveal any personal information, no birth dates, no social security numbers, no birthdays or social security numbers of your parents. You never want to do anything like that. So, because honestly, the one statement that I received from that video is that you don't really know who these people are. So you have to be very careful with the information that you share with people online. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So, directions. Think about whom you interact with online and using devices and apps and write them into the table. So, if you don't have a table to write in, you can just take a sheet of paper and I'll give you a few minutes. But I do want you to think about whom do you interact with online? Are these the same people that you are friends with at school? Or are some of the people that you interact online totally strangers and you've never really met them? So you want to take a moment to write down those people. So we have a question. Do you know them well? Do you know them well? So I want to hear, and I want you to talk to your teacher who's facilitating this discussion later and tell them, I found that when I did this list of names of people, 5 people I know pretty well, but 2 of them I really don't know well at all. And if they came to my front door and they knocked on my door, I wouldn't know who they are. So, do you know them well? So, let's talk about the word risky. Risky is potentially harmful to one's emotional or physical well being. So, that is the definition of risky, potentially harmful to one's emotional or physical well being. Private information, that word was discussed in the video. Information about you that can be used to identify you because it's unique to you. Your full name, your address, your phone number, your student ID number, any of that information is your information and it should not be shared with anyone online. So, there is an exercise called Sarah's Chats. As you read it, I would like for you to underline the ways Sarah came into contact with each person. The second thing that I would like for you to do is highlight the information that Sarah shares with each person. So let's take a look at that. So I am going to go right on over to the Google Drive and I am going to see if I can find that particular worksheet. And it is in the sixth grade materials because we're doing sixth grade. And hopefully, your teacher has provided you with this particular worksheet online. So, we're going to look at this. So, let's read this dilemma. Sarah loves taking pictures and posting them to Instagram. A few months ago, she noticed Alex East West 13 liked several of her photos and commented, "You are so talented." Sarah was flattered. Then she received a message from Alex East West 13 asking if she was a professional photographer or if she wanted to be someday. Sarah responded that it was her dream to be one when she grew up. Now, they talk a lot through private messaging. Sarah also posts comments on Alex East West 13's photos, which are mostly of random objects and nature scenes. Last week, Alex East West 13 asked if she could post more selfies because I like you. You are beautiful. I think you are beautiful. Alex East West 13 also messaged her a cell phone number so she could send more personal pictures. Just don't tell anyone I gave you this, Alex East West 13 commented. So I want you to think about this passage that we just read and what the word risky means, potentially emotional, harmful, or physically harmful to yourself. And I want you to look at the questions, identify who are the different people involved in the scenario? What dilemma or challenge are they facing? So you have two people online, Alex East West 13, and you have Sarah. And so the first thing that happened was he complimented her, and she felt good with that compliment. Then, instead of texting or posting to Instagram, there's a private message that comes from Alex East West 13 asking a question about whether she was a professional photographer or if she wanted to be one day. So then the exchange continues because what has Alex done? He's flattered her and he's kind of brought her in because this is something that she's interested in and she wants to be a photographer when she grows up. So it says now they talk a lot through private messaging. So, how do you get from online posting, public posting on Instagram to moving to private messaging? So, you have to be very careful when your conversations move from the open public eyes to private eyes. Okay. And if you begin, my rule of thumb is if you begin to text something or share something that if your mother or your grandmother or your auntie or your uncle or your dad or your grandmother or your granddaddy, if they looked at it and would be surprised or upset that you shared something, then it probably should not have been shared. So I try to tell students to use the mama daddy filter. And if you're sharing a photo or if you're writing a text that you would not want them to read, then you probably should not share it. So, the second part of this is, what do you think Sarah is feeling? How might the situation be hard or challenging for her? So, I don't know how Sarah is feeling because I've never been asked on social media to share anything private. But I think a lot of students are in that situation where people ask them to share private things that likely should not be shared. So, what I tell students is that you have to know for sure who you are and what you will or won't do on social media. And so if you say that a no for you is that you won't share any photos of yourself privately on social media, then you stick to that and you don't share those things. Because those situations may be hard or challenging for you, especially if it's somebody that has flattered you and said that you're beautiful and that they just want to see more pictures of you, then you may be tempted to share more. But you have to be able to talk to an adult about these things and make sure that you're operating in the mode of safety and not practicing risky behavior. Okay? So that is okay, so there's the second part to this worksheet. It's 2 pages. So imagine how Sarah could handle the situation. Come up with as many ideas as possible. There's no right answer. Then circle which option might lead to the most positive outcome. And I think that before I kind of talked to you about a positive outcome would be to have those hard no's, know what you will and won't share online. Talk to your parents or whoever your guardian is about what they think is responsible behavior online, and make sure that it passes that test. If you would want someone grown in your life to see what you've posted or what picture you've shared, then you probably should not share it. So the last thing is thinking more about the idea you choose for handling this situation. What could Sarah say or do? Now, I always tell my children, because I have 4, I always tell my children, use us. Tell them. If someone asks you to do something that you're not comfortable with, say, I've promised my parents that I won't participate in this type of behavior online, or my phone may be taken, or I may lose my right, or I may lose my social media account. So I am not comfortable sharing anything privately with you. So those are some things that Sarah could have said to handle the situation and kind of get herself out of it. Okay, so we're going to move forward in this particular training. And so we're going to go right back to the next word is inappropriate, not acceptable in this situation, not okay. Red flag feeling. We all get that feeling, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Or I shouldn't say this. Or I shouldn't participate in this. If you have a red flag feeling, which is when something happens on digital media that makes you feel uncomfortable, worried, sad, or anxious, then that red flag should not be ignored. If you feel uncomfortable, you should stop it right there and either disconnect from the conversation, get off social media for the time, tell an adult, or talk about it with someone older that you trust who could give you sound advice. So if you get that red flag feeling for something that happens to you online, do not ignore it because it's there for a reason. Slow down, pause, and remember FIRE. FIRE is a great acronym. Feel, identify, reflect, and enact. So take the pulse of your emotions. Are you feeling sad, anxious, jealous, excluded, or uncomfortable? If not, what emotion captures how you feel? Then identify. Think about what caused you to have this feeling. What happened to make you feel sad all of a sudden, or jealous, or uncomfortable? What happened? Was it something you or someone else did or said? You need to be able to answer that question. Reflect. Consider possible responses. What choices of action are available to you? Can you just stop the conversation with that person? Can you hang up the phone if you're talking online? Can you disconnect from social media at the moment that you feel uncomfortable? What choices of actions are available to you? What are the benefits or drawbacks for you and for others of each step you might take? If you send pictures to someone that are inappropriate, there may be some consequences or drawbacks for those actions. You never know what a person is going to do with photos that you may share. So you just want to make sure that you reflect on the situation and make sure that you don't do anything that would later be a drawback for you or your family. The last one is enact. Take steps to act. How can you move forward to address the situation that feels positive and productive for you or for others? So, whenever you get those red flag feelings, the way that you can analyze those feelings is by using the FIRE acronym. Take a pulse of your feelings, identify what caused this feeling, reflect on what the possible responses to this feeling could be, and take steps to act, which is enact. Okay? Change the subject. So these are some actual samples for you in case you don't know how you can respond when you have those red flag moments. Change the subject. Make a joke or say, I don't want to talk about this. Log off or quit. Unfriend the person and block them. Create a new account and report the other user. Never, ever plan a face-to-face meeting with someone you do not know unless you are taking along a parent or guardian. Ask a trusted adult for advice or help if you feel unsure or uncomfortable in any situation. So, here's your exit ticket. How will you use what you learned today in your own friendships online? Number 2, if you could give Sarah one piece of advice for her online friendships, what would it be? Thank you, 6th graders, for watching. If you have any questions, you may talk to your teacher who's facilitating this exercise, or you may email me at charlotte.lockhart@palmbeachschools.org. I am your media specialist at Don Estridge High-Tech Middle School, and I would love for you to be and continue to be a responsible digital citizen.